Yeah, it is another episode of the Autumn Windbags. RJ Clifford, Juan Soto. Let's have some fun today. It's been a week since we did a show. By a week. Nice chance to kind of recharge our batteries a little bit. Antonio Pierce gave the team like a week and a half off. We took 6.5 days off in between shows. Do you feel like your batteries are recharged, Soto? Do you feel like you're ready to like put the 5-game losing streak behind us and get energized for another show?
Yeah, I'm ready. Let's do it.
That is faking worse than your girlfriend.
Oh, I mean, I don't care about her faking it, though. That's the big difference here.
I'm glad when they fake it. You're like, oh, yeah, stroke my ego. And then we're done when I say so. Like, I don't see the downside in this.
The fun thing is I always win. That's the best part.
That's that. You just did a movie line, but I think you only said the second half. Well, I don't know if anyone's going to get the first half.
No.
Let us know in the comment section if you could actually get that.
The best part is you always win.
Always win. That should seal it for you guys.
Yeah.
Let us know in the comments.
That's a deep pull right there. So
a deep pull, but it's a classic. It's definitely you all have seen it, and you all have laughed hysterically. So bye week's done. 5-game losing streak, chance to recharge the batteries, whole new. Well, we don't know if it's gonna be a new system. It's gonna be a whole new offensive coordinator. Maybe a chance to kind of reset everything, get everyone's mind right. We'll see where it goes. But the one thing that will stay consistent is quarterback. Antonio Pierce said this week that Gardner Minshew will remain the starter in Scott Turner's brand new, shiny, beautiful new offense. Antonio Pierce said he gives us the best opportunity going forward, and he has every opportunity to go out there and help us get to a win. It starts with the staff. It starts with me. It starts with belief. Go out there and let it go. Let it loose. What do we got to lose at this point, right? 2-7. So everything that's behind us is behind us, and I'm looking forward to everything in front of me.
Hey.
Apollo agrees.
Apollo does agree.
Apollo agrees.
Hey, shh, quiet. God damn it. Of course, right when we start. Look, before the season started, if you lined up, most people in the NFL, I know a lot of fans think they know more than people, but most people in the NFL, if you lined up Aiden O'Connell, Ritter, and Minshew, you line them all up, they're going to say Minshew's the better quarterback out of the three. So is it going to make a huge difference? I don't know. I think that Minshew probably has a lot of stuff going on in between his ears right now because he's turning the ball over worse than a freaking, undrafted rookie. Mm-hmm. He's just he is the replacement's bad. Like he's bad. So we'll see. It's not going to be a new system. It's going to be the same system. It's most of these teams run the same shit. Okay, the concepts are the same. It's just the window dressing. What kind of motion do you use? What kind of formations do you have? But the way they attack defenses is very similar. So I would probably bet that we're going to see a lot more deep stuff, a lot more deep shots, and hopefully some better offensive line play.
Yeah, that would be nice. I don't know how much of that's obviously not a Minshew thing, but I think this also proves too for people who thought like, oh, the Raiders are tanking. Like, you're not tanking if you're starting Gardner Minshew. If you're tanking, you're starting Desmond Ritter, right? Even if you're not tanking,
Carter Bradley.
Like I thought they'd go Ritter just because it's like, look, you know what you got in Minshew. Like, roll the dice. Maybe you can get something going with Ritter, get some value. Raise his stock a little bit at try something, right? Like I thought even without tanking, it's just like, okay, we're definitely not. And that's the difference is between tanking and just like, okay, we've acquiesced where this season is. It's now now it's time to like ascertain the future as opposed to do everything we can to win now. And Antonio Pierce, man, like it sounds like it's been made abundantly clear by Mark Davis. You have a 2-year deal. I don't think he gets fired at the end of this season, more or less, regardless. It's possible, like if things like really go, like not even just losses, but like off the rails bad, where people start revolting and there's a mutiny on board and stuff like that. But it certainly sounds like Mark Davis made abundantly clear to Antonio Pierce. It's like, yeah, you have reportedly a 2-year deal. Like, you better earn that shit, man. Like, your leash has gotten shorter, 2-7.
Yeah, I think I'm in agreement with you. I think that the AP will be brought back next year unless something, like you said, something catastrophic happens. Unfortunately, that doesn't encompass like him not getting any better at game management, him not, getting better strategically. He hasn't. I understand this is his first full season, but he coached last season, and he's just not getting any better. He has a full season under his belt, basically, from last season and this season. He's got a full season under his belt. And how is his decision making? Is it getting better? Is he learning from mistakes? It just doesn't seem like his mind is clicking in a modern NFL way. I think he's still playing very 90s, early 2000s football, where you can run the ball 45 times and, I had to pass because we're behind type of thing. And a lot of the decisions he's making, you got to put up points in this league, man. You can't. You see the better teams in the league are the ones that put up points. You don't see the top defensive teams that can't score up there. Like, these guys put up points. You got to be able to put up points. And we're just giving away. I mean, that stat is just smacked me in the face. 46-6 in the last 2 minutes of the first half.
Mm-hmm.
That's just a lot of his decisions on how to play the game and how to, how to attack a game or to just sit on the ball. And yeah, I'm very concerned. I'm very concerned about this because it doesn't matter who we have at quarterback. If we don't have a good coaching staff for that quarterback, it's not going to matter.
Well, if that's what Mark Davis is banking on, then you might as well write Antonio Pierce's obituary now. Like, you don't get better at that part of the game after a season. Like, yeah, that doesn't, you know what I mean? That doesn't you don't get better at that overnight.
You do get better. And I'm not saying he has to be all the way the best, but he has to show some improvement.
I think this is a lot of who he is. He's a defensive-minded coach. He's putting faith in his defense. Again, like, I have no doubt he'll improve on some of the no-brainer stuff, like some of the giant brain farts that he's had. He'll improve on as time goes on. But that stuff takes a lot of time. The bigger concern to me with Antonio Pierce is the things he did well to end the second half of last season that disappeared. The no penalties, great with turnovers. Like, that was the stuff that was like, okay, this. And I think I was the loudest and most vocal one all off season. That, like, look, Antonio Pierce is going to get out coached. He is going to embarrass himself on the sideline with his decision making. He just doesn't have the experience. It's just the case. Like, you don't learn that stuff overnight. You don't learn that stuff being a Long Beach Poly high school coach. You don't. Like, he's going to embarrass himself, but he'll keep the players motivated. He'll keep the penalties down. We'll keep the turnovers the way that, all the stuff that he proved he could do last season. That'll hopefully overcome these very obvious and glaring deficiencies. And now that all that hasn't happened, right? We're no longer number one in penalties and great, we're the worst turnover team in football. Now these glaring mistakes he makes on the sideline look even worse because it's coming in blowouts and you're already getting, looked at negatively, correctly so, with how things are going. So, yeah, if Mark Davis is saying, like, okay, I need you to be a lot better on the sideline or you're fired, he's fired.
I think we're saying different things. You're saying a lot better. I'm saying showing improvement. Mm-hmm. And I haven't seen that. So that's where I'm concerned, is he's not getting better. Mm-hmm. And it doesn't take 5 years to get better. You can get better if you're an aware person and you learn from mistakes. It should only take one time for you to make a mistake, and it just seems like these mistakes keep happening. One of the things that's also very concerning is the fact that a team has to tell the coaching staff that there's a lack of accountability. Mm-hmm. That's huge because that was his thing. I'm going to be your friend, but I'm going to keep you accountable, and we're going to play hard and this and that and blah, blah, blah. And that was kind of like what he had in his backpack. Like, hey, you know what? I'm not going to have a lot. I'm not going to bring a lot of coaching experience, but what I'm going to do is I'm going to help have these guys play hard, play smart, give it a lot of effort. And this, well, if the coaching staff isn't seen as that, you know, it just seems like a lot of window dressing right now. That's what it seems like. I got all these coaches to help me out. Okay, well, where's the results? You're not getting any better in your decision making. You have a personal guy just for game management, and your game management is awful. Okay, you have a personal guy in Marvin Lewis who's been a head coach. He's picking up a paycheck. Rob Ryan's picking up a paycheck.
Yeah,
Joe Philbin's actually doing something now. Okay, so he's actually coaching the offensive line. You bring in Norv Turner to help out Scott, which, you know, I kind of like that. But like that was the big thing for me. Like these meetings shouldn't happen that often. Okay, these like, hey, everyone, let's sit down, let's get air grievances and all that stuff. Like Festivus is only once a year. All right, this is the second one we've had in the season already. Not a good sign. Okay, and then on top of that, they're saying, yeah, you know, what the hell is Marvin Lewis there for? What is he there for? You have three guys who have been head coaches now, and you got the team complaining about practices and tape sessions and everything is like wasting time and inefficient and no accountability. That's not a good look on anybody on that coaching staff. I don't care who it is.
Yeah, man. I think some of the stuff is his personality, right? Like he's going to be defensive minded. He's going to put faith in his defense. He just has that mentality as a coach. I don't think that part's going away. But the obvious boneheaded mistakes that we've seen multiple of, that's the one that's like, okay, can we at least eliminate the bonehead? All right, maybe you're not going to be like a pure stats guy, analytics guy. Maybe you're not going to know exactly 51% of the time you're supposed to go for it here. It's like, okay, that's not who Antonio Pierce. Ricky Bobby ain't a thinker, he's a driver. You know, Antonio Pierce ain't a thinker, he's a motivator. It's like, okay, you can win in this league. You can be a good coach when that's your strength, and maybe that's not your weakness.
Dude, like it's against the Rams. They have the ball, and it's like 2 minutes and like 14 seconds left. He just lets the time go down to the 2-minute warning instead of taking timeouts. He just wastes 14 seconds.
Yeah. It's
like that type of stuff. You and I are screaming at the TV. Why does he not know that?
First half of the Chiefs game, I think this is the best example where there's like 1:40 left and he's running out the clock on offense because he doesn't want to leave enough time for the Chiefs offense. Like, you've already decided you're going to punt. Like, you've already decided that this drive of yours isn't going to end in points. And so you're already thinking like a defensive minded coach of, I don't want Patrick Mahomes to have as any time left. It's like, how about you use up all the time and score? Here's like a crazy novel thought. Here's a wild and reckless off the wall thinking from imagination land. How about you do we put together a 70-yard drive in 1:40 and score a touchdown? How about that? Dude. But like, and again, that's less like analytics bad choice. It's ingrained in his brain. It's, how do I slow down Patrick Mahomes? And that's on his mind all the time.
So look, if just watching games, you know that you have to score. You have to take every opportunity to score against the Chiefs. You have to put your foot on their throat, and you can't let them up. You give them a little bit of ask the Bills. They did that exact same thing. They ran a bunch of clock off. Oh, they only have 13 seconds. Well, guess what? They drove down the field in 13 seconds to kick a field goal, and they won. He's not learning from the mistakes he's making. That's huge. That's huge because he's going to make more mistakes. And if he's not learning from those, he's going to cost his team games. And if the team gets better, which I think they will get better, because hopefully we have, better quarterback, more just
talking next season.
Yeah, next season we have like a more settled, offense and stuff like that. Like, okay, offensive line's a year older, a little bit better. Okay, those games are going to mean a lot more than the games mean now, and that's the issue. That's where I think we're not crossing right now. Is you're like, yeah, he's not a finished product. Yeah, I understand that, but he's not exhibiting the traits that shows me he can get there.
Yeah,
Apollo.
I'm with you, but I also think a good chunk of that isn't changing because he's a defensive-minded coach, and that's not the like the numbskull moves. The numbskull moves can be fixed, but he's gonna be thinking, how do I slow down their offense?
He's still making them, dude.
I'm saying those can be fixed. Whether they
2 games ago.
I'm saying they can be fixed, whether they will or not, we'll find out. But I think there's certain elements that's ingrained in who he is that isn't changing. Well, we'll see if the offense looks any different. Michael Mayer is back after the extremely mysterious and very weird departure for personal reasons. He hasn't played since week 3. He hasn't played since the home opener, but he'll be back and likely playing this Sunday against the Dolphins. He said in the presser, or Antonio Pierce said in the presser about him coming back, excited, man. It was good to see Big Mike back. He looked good, had a little tan, so I don't know where he was at, but he's hanging out somewhere good. He looked good, man. He's in shape. He stayed out here this entire bye week working out. It's good to hear. Getting himself back into football shape and around the team, around the building. And then, obviously, when we got together yesterday, everybody's excited. You heard a lot of knocking, but in the end, it's just business as usual. That's what Mike's about. Michael Mayer said also this week, the number one important rule is that football is not bigger than life. It isn't, and it never has been. I just needed to figure some things out. That's what I did, and I'm on my feet again. I feel great. I'm sleeping well. I'm doing all the things that I need to be doing. So it's still shrouded in mystery. We learned 2 things. He came back with a tan, and he was in Cincinnati for part of this. And apparently whatever he needed to work out got worked out, Soto, but it may be several seasons before we know exactly, if ever, if we know what happened with Michael Mayer.
Yeah, it's going to be this offseason. We'll figure it out this offseason. He had a mental health breakdown. He had to.
Feels like it. It feels like it.
Yeah,
either if it was like a death in the family, why did it take 6 weeks? If it was
a death in the family, that would have been reported right away.
That's why it feels like the Raiders beat writers aren't hacks. Like, if it was something that could be reported, it would have been. You know what I'm saying? Like when a celebrity passes away and they don't say why, it's because it's, suicide, overdose, or something like that. And they wait a certain period of time before they release that news so that like family and friends and stuff can be told. It's just kind of like a journalistic courtesy. This feels like
if you don't hear what happened right away, it was overdose.
Or suicide, or like something really, really tragic.
Yeah.
Like it wasn't like he had cancer and passed away, or got hit by a car. It's like something like, ugh, that's kind of scary.
There's a pretty big, well-known facility in the Cincinnati area, like the Linder. I looked it up earlier. The Linder Center of Hope, I think it's called. It's in the Mason area, so that's a big mental health center. Lot of stuff being done there. A lot of smart people, a lot of good doctors there. So the pieces starting to line up. I don't know exactly what happened. I don't know. I don't have any clue what happened. But we heard about him being in Ohio. Okay, I kind of know that having a psychology degree, I know we're like there's Chicago. There's Ohio. There's a lot of the big mental health facilities, and so I mean, hopefully everything's all right. Hopefully he kind of shook that and ready to go.
Yeah, very weird. And again, I'm kind of a sociopath. I care about the football player, less the man. I care about the who's going to help the Raiders.
I want to care about the football player, not the man at all. That he's that good where I don't even have to worry about it.
Yeah. It's just something I hope he's got resolved, because if this is like a reoccurring thing, that's going to be an issue for this football team.
It'd be a shame,
But
man. He's a good
it'd
player.
be a shame. But it could be a nice little spark, right? New offensive coordinator. Number 2 tight end is back. Gardner Minshew solidified as starter. He could be a little spark, right? Because he was I think he was a little bit more integral to the game plan than I think people gave it credit for, right? They wanted to run 2 tight ends. That should have helped them be able to run the ball better. That should have, of course, opened up the play action. Like, it opens up everything, it's like, I think that was always the plan, right? Is like tight ends our deepest room. We got 2 tight end ones. We got tight end 1A, tight end 1B. He's managed a better blocker than Brock. A little bit better blocker. Obviously, 1 year more experience in the NFL. That would have been I think the game plan was to have both those guys on the field consistently. And when that went out, again, that's not the only thing that made this offense go into the shitter, but it certainly didn't help.
For sure didn't help. I think it's going to help quite a bit. You get a locked-in Mayer who's, going to help in the run game, and also another weapon that can attack. You took a look at Norv Turner and his offenses, man. He's worked with good tight ends, and he's been able to get his ball to the tight end. So I know I'm interested to see what's going to happen, what the Turners can do with this pair of tight ends that we have.
Yeah. I hope they don't ease him in. Just get right into it. Just get right into the offense. Just whether in shape, out of shape, whatever. Like, you're making up for lost time. Prove that you're back. Get right into it. Welcome back, Mikey. Make it count.
Maybe he got tired of all the freaking Davante Adams drama.
Maybe he got sick of looking at Brock Bowers' girlfriend that you guys hate so much. He's like, ew, I don't look at this flat ass weirdo.
You're such a freaking weirdo, dude. You're such a weirdo.
We'll get to it.
You need to be right so much that you just straight up lie to people what I've been saying.
You hate her. She makes you want to barf.
You just bold-faced lie to people. And then the worst part is some of these idiots actually believe what you're saying. You're that good at it.
You were thinking of switching to men when you see her. She disgusts you so much.
That's so terrible.
It's honestly, most people are on your side, Soto. I was surprised. You look at the comment section, most people are siding with you over me. We'll get to that.
And the thing is, I'm not siding because I think those guys are a lot more harsh on her than I was.
Mm-hmm.
I actually was very complimentary of the girl.
She's a handsome woman.
I never said that. That's not a no. That's a.
What's that from?
That's a handsome woman. That's from Austin Powers.
Yes.
She is Manny. She's a little Manny. A handsome woman. It's a man, baby.
It's a woman that's a man.
Yeah, but they were harsher on her than I was, man.
So it's officially draft season for us Raiders. We're already looking towards the draft. And what are we sitting at now? 5th? As of
5.
Right this second? 5, right? 5th. We could get as high as 1. Who knows? But quarterback is what we are targeting. That's no secret. I am not dropping any truth bombs on anybody. Quarterback. What's your top 5 priorities? Quarterback. Dylon.
All day.
Dylon. That's all. That's priority 1, 2, 3. That we got to at least shoot our shot with a franchise quarterback, right? Got to at least shoot. We haven't shot our shot with a first-round franchise quarterback in decades. Come on, let's do this. And so Shedeur Sanders is kind of on everyone's minds. Tank for Shedeur is trending here and there, right? Are you? It's way too early for you to give your for us to give our hardcore pick on who we want. But are you leaning Shedeur, Cam? Someone else?
I'm leaning Shedeur. Shedeur. And here's the reason why. And I talked to the guys in the last post-game show about this. Is what I look at with quarterbacks when I evaluate is I look at them and the type of throws that they're making. Mm-hmm. A lot of the Alabama quarterbacks in the past, they're like, well, it's kind of hard to evaluate them because they're throwing to wide open receivers. Mm-hmm. Can you hit wide open receivers? Yeah, fine. Okay, that's good. but you're not going to have those guys in the pros. Are you throwing the ball on time, right? Is your offense on time? Are you making good decisions? And are you fitting? Can you, not are you, because sometimes you have a guy that's just an animal and is always wide open, right? But can you fit the ball into tight windows? Can you make plays outside of the pocket? Those are things that I'm looking at. And it's hard to evaluate like a Jalen Milroe, or who I think Jalen Milroe is like a faster, more athletic Jalen Hurts, or Cam Ward, because they use their legs a lot more than they're going to in the pros, and they're throwing to wide open guys. Like, I'm talking wide open guys. And Shedeur is in a more pro style offense where he's going to be working from the pocket more. Now, he gets out of the pocket and stuff like that too, but I actually see let's say, Ward closer to like Milroe, Beck, Allar from Penn State, like those guys. I see him closer to them than I do to Shedeur because of those things that I mentioned. And I see, let's say if Shedeur came out last year, he would be like right behind May. He would be like a pussy whisker behind number 3, but still well above the second pocket of 3 quarterbacks. So he's in the middle, but he's closer to the top pocket than the JJ Nix, Penix guys.
If he was in the draft last year, would we have ended up with Bo Nix? Maybe. Maybe. It wouldn't be best player available, but we definitely needed a quarterback. I wonder if Telesco would have pulled the trigger. It's like, all right, we'll take number 7 of 7 quarterbacks.
Because look, the thing was, the reason why we didn't move, and this is just the straight out fact. You can agree with it or not agree with it. That's not the conversation we're having here. Telesco and the Raiders didn't believe the second group of 3 was worth moving up and what it was going to cost. If they're going to move up, it's going to be from one of the top 3 guys, or one guy in particular. But I mean, they were all rated pretty similar. Shedeur is very close to that. He's not there. He's not coming out of college. He's not that yet. We'll see how, things go on with like his workouts and, his throwing and stuff like that. But for right now, what I see on tape, he's very close to that. So I could have seen them move up to like where the Giants were and pick him up. What Neighbors was that? What, 6, 5, something like that? I could have seen him move up and grab Shedeur in that area. But I mean, the other guys they didn't rate JJ Nix and Penix as high.
Yeah.
So that's why they didn't move.
Well, he seems to be, as of now, trending as the number 1 quarterback coming out of this draft, and not as anywhere near as draft as last year's, or not as anywhere near as deep as last year's draft for quarterbacks. Kind of a weird draft in general, where like the sexy positions are kind of shallow: quarterback, tackle, edge. Very, very weird draft.
There's a lot of good interior defensive linemen. There's a lot of good offensive linemen interior. There's a lot of good freaking DBs too. A lot of safeties and corners. So
not deep in the sexy positions.
No, not the sexy ones.
Like last draft. But Shedeur seems to be Shedeur kind of seems to be, I think, on average, the number 1 quarterback coming out of this next group.
I think the consensus, yeah, you can say that.
Deion Sanders. I don't know if you knew this, guys, but his dad is Deion Sanders.
It makes sense now.
The guy from the Aflac commercials. Yeah, he's actually the dad of Shedeur. I thought for the longest time it was just a coincidence they had the same last name. Oh no. Shedeur came straight from Deion's ball sack, and he was on Deion Speak on FS1, and was asked straight up if he would step in and stop Shedeur from being drafted by the wrong team. And Sanders said, "Yeah, I'm not going to do it publicly. I'll do it privately." He also said somebody that can handle the quarterback that he is, somebody that can handle understanding what he's capable of, someone who has had success in the past handling quarterbacks, or someone in an organization that understands what they're doing, not just throwing you out there amongst the wolves. So I was asked on Monday when I do Cofield's local show, he's like, if we drafted Shedeur Sanders, are you worried that Deion would be part of the baggage? Like he'd be like Alonzo Ball type of situation where it's like, all right, you get the dad with the guy and it's going to be a pain in the ass, blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, I think Deion's going to be pretty busy next season. Like he might be an NFL coach. Maybe. Like he's got that kind of attention. He might, he's made Colorado from nothing to must-watch television, literally prime time. They're going to be like, I'm not overly worried that he's going to be kind of like the nagging parent. Anyone who's coached high school sports knows exactly what I'm talking about. I think he'll be a little too busy. But now the question is turned into, is he even going to let his kid go to your goddamn team? That's now the question.
I mean, look, Deion, I think it's blasphemy to compare Deion Sanders and freaking whatever his name was, Ball.
Mm-hmm.
That's no, because Deion actually knows what he's talking about. And
he doesn't have all this time on his hands. You know what I mean? Like,
and he's played in the league, so he knows the things that go behind the things that are going to help his son be successful.
But if you're like a GM or head coach, that's even more dangerous because now you're like, I have to now compete with Deion Sanders to get what I want. I
wouldn't necessarily say competing with Deion Sanders, but you're going to have somebody
you feel that way.
Who's if you want to feel that way, it doesn't necessarily have to be that way. But if you and it's going to be an open conversation. And hopefully. You're not going to be able to snow him like you would, another hanger on or an advisor or anything like that, an uncle of a player. You're not going to be able to do that because he's played in the league. He knows all the players. He knows all the coaches. So I don't see how it would be a bad thing. It would only be a bad thing if you are insecure in what you're doing, or if you're just bad at it and your idea is shitty, then Deion's going to call you out. But that's
probably half the coaches in the NFL.
More than likely, yes. That's about at least a good third for sure.
Yeah, and I think that is absolutely a conversation that's being had in any draft room that's considering drafting. Now, whether it's a deal breaker or not, who knows? But you have no doubt about it. Every GM's like, am I going to have to not just deal with Deion Sanders? Well, I have to answer to him. Does Deion have a better relationship with the owner of this team than I do? That's a possibility. I'm not just talking Raiders specific. I'm just talking in general. Like, let's say the Cowboys draft him. Who's got Jerry Jones's ear better, McCarthy or Deion Sanders? Probably maybe Deion Sanders, right? Like do you want to you're like, shit, man. Like I don't even have power over my own team anymore. Deion's got more sway than I do.
Well, the thing
is conversation.
The situation that we theoretically that we may have next season, and let's say just compare it to what you brought Dallas is there's no buffer between Deion and the owner. It's through Jerry Jones. That buffer would be Tom Brady to Mark Davis. So they speak the same language. They know what needs to be set in place. They know what needs to be worked on. And I don't know that necessarily it has to be implemented right away, kind of like what we're talking about with AP. I'm not saying he has to be perfect right now, but he has to be taking steps. Okay, what are the steps you're going to take to help my son be successful? What's the plan? How are we going to execute the plan? I think more so that's important over to go to because he's something to be a top pick. He's not going to go to a good team. Mm-hmm. So what's the plan in place to help my son be successful long term?
Yeah, and I think any head coach any college head coach would want to do that for his quarterback. Any father would want to do that for his quarterback. And I think if it keeps positive, then it's all positive, right? It's just all gravy. It's like, all right, here's just one more guy trying to give positive input, which is the hope. But going back to the original question from the interview is, would you stop it from happening? And he's like, well, I'd handle things behind the scenes, which I wonder, I'm not convinced that it would be black and white where Deion's like, I don't want you going to Carolina. I don't want you going to
I think he would say that 100%.
I don't want you. Well, I think he can say, I don't think he has the power to. I just don't think he does. Like you can, what would make a GM say, oh, well, Deion Sanders doesn't want me to draft this guy. I guess I won't now. They're going to say, fuck off. I'm going to pick up who I want.
I think you might be looking at it from the wrong perspective, RJ. I'm not saying he does, and I'm not saying he doesn't. I'm saying if there's a situation, if there's a scenario, if there's a person connected to the quarterback the way they are, and if it were to happen, this is it.
Remember when we had all these reports about Caleb Williams, and he's just like, there's reports that he wants, all these stipulations. He wants to choose where he goes. He's, all this shit, right? What happened? You got drafted by the team who drafted him, and you went there and played in quarterback purgatory, the Chicago Bears. If you're going to flex that muscle as the number 1 overall pick and the best prospects since quarterback prospects since Trevor Lawrence, and you're going to literally quarterback purgatory, like the Chicago Bears have never had a good quarterback. Like it just does. That's where quarterbacks go to die. If anyone had the power to do it, and if anyone was in a position to do it, it would have been Caleb Williams. And even he went. And so it's like, we with NIL, these guys have more money and there's the game's changing. It's like, I don't think the draft changes. I think guys go where they're drafted and they just don't have another choice.
Okay. Maybe not. But like I said, if it were to happen, this is the scenario where it would happen. Mm-hmm. Not just a dad that played in college and runs a sports complex compound type of thing and has a big mouth and likes to be out there and likes to be out in the front. Like, no, this guy knows what he's talking about. He not only knows what he's talking about, he knows all these coaches and where they learned from and where they came from. He knows all the stuff already. So you can't snow him. I just think that it's a lot more likely to happen with Deion than with anybody else.
I feel like Caleb had more leverage than Shedeur. What was that super crazy report that they said Caleb was going to do?
He wanted a piece of the team or something like that.
Yeah, he wanted a piece of the team or he's not going to get drafted. And remember all that, like for months, the whole offseason, he wants this, he's going to be diva that, he's not going to go there, he wants a piece of this. No, he got drafted.
Freaking teammates love him, dude.
Like normal. Like any other draft. He had the guy with as much power as any draft in recent memory, and he went to the team that drafted him, and he's playing and he's starting. No stipulations. Doesn't have to have nothing crazy. Like that shit doesn't happen. Like every single offseason, this draft's going to do that. This draftee's going to do that. This guy's what? Nope. Everyone gets drafted, goes to the team.
Well, you're not going to hear anything.
Don't.
But it doesn't mean it didn't happen.
I have no doubt that Deion will try to coax the transition as good as possible. I have no doubt about that, right? Like I have no doubt that he's going to want to, he's like, hey, it looks like the Raiders are going to take him at 4. I'm sure he'll call, hey guys, who's going to be our offensive coordinator, this season? I got some ideas. Are you guys drafting a wide receiver? Like, hey, this guy's a free agent. I have no doubt that Deion will coax and want to be Deion. I just don't know if there's leverage. I just don't know if there's like he puts his foot down and demands something, it's going to happen. I think it's much more just, hey, let me coax. Let's talk. Let me help out my boy. Let's see what we can do. Or he tries to be head coach wherever he gets drafted.
That's a possibility.
That's also like don't underestimate like where Deion's coaching career can go in the next like 1 or 2 seasons. What he did in Buffalo was a miracle. Or Buffalo for the Colorado Buffs. Like what he did is a miracle.
I wouldn't necessarily call it a miracle. He took freaking 2 of the best players in college football, from his team to, but it is definitely a positive for sure. It's a definite positive. And he does seem to have a little bit more of a knack for game management. I'm like, he's not perfect. He makes mistakes too. But I think his coaching ability is a lot better than AP's right
now. He took Colorado. What were they? How many games did they win 2 seasons ago? 2?
Dude, those teams, those were not the same teams. The 2 seasons ago and last season, they were not the same.
That's exactly part of it. right? Like you transfer portal and you build them better and you bring your son. Like that's part of it. That's my point. Like they were.
It's not like he freaking scouted these guys and found them. Like it's his son. It's his basically another son in Travis Hunter. It's his other son in Shiloh Sanders. Like it's all these guys. Like he basically the best players from his team that he had, and then cherry picked a bunch of players from. I get it. I just
they were 1-11 in 2022, 4-8 last season, and they're 7-2 now in the hunt for the Big 12.
When you compare records, it's only impressive if it's the same team. If it's a different team, it doesn't matter. It's a different team.
Not in college because you are the GM.
In college, it's the same
you
thing.
are the GM.
You
are the coach is the record in college.
Yeah, and you brought players that were better than the terrible players that were in college.
And you get credit for that.
Okay.
And not just that,
I'm not saying he doesn't get credit for it.
But also it's
fabulous, amazing. Oh my God.
It is amazing.
Incredible.
That turnaround.
To
get that turnaround, you need to have all those things. You know what I'm saying?
Now, if they stay good 2 seasons after Shedeur leaves and Deion is still there, okay, then I see your point.
I don't think he will be. I think he's
well, that's the thing. You're not comparing the same thing.
But more important, but like as big as the records are and as amazing as that is, I forgot one of the stats it was. It was a game last season, and they were showing like tuition rates since Deion came on, and it went up like 25%. Enrollment went up like 17%. Social media went like that's honestly to the real decision makers. That's more important than wins and losses. That's more important than like, oh, you got second in the Big 12 instead of 8th. Wow, that's like no. They're just like, what? How are you making us money? Like, oh, we're in prime time now on ESPN instead of like Big 12 after dark on like ESPN the Ocho. Oh, like kids are like trying to come here now. Like we're actually turning down students because our coach made our football team relevant. Like that's what matters to people. That's what matters to the real higher ups, the real decision makers at a university, not the athletic director, the real decision makers and the real purse strings. That's what Deion brings. Like he's not going to be in Colorado long. No way.
I don't think so. I think when Shedeur leaves, he's gone.
Some terrible news. You hate to see it. Report from ESPN. The Kansas City area homes of Chiefs quarterback Patrick Mahomes and a tight end that will remain nameless. Seriously, that's what they said on ESPN.com. I don't remain nameless. They did that. Were burglarized last month, according to police reports. Weird it took a month for this to come out. The Cass County, Missouri Sheriff's Office said a break-in occurred at Mahomes' residence shortly after midnight, October 6th. Kelce's home was burglarized the next day on October 7th. Back-to-back days in homes not that far away from each other. Police said the loss at Kelce's home totaled $21,000, including $20,000 in cash. So they stole $20,000 in cash and $1,000 in Taylor Swift merch. I don't know.
Yeah, right. Swag.
Mahomes confirmed on Wednesday that this all happened. He said, obviously, it's frustrating, it's disappointing, but I mean, I can't get into too many of the details because the investigation is still ongoing. But obviously, something that you don't want to happen to really anybody, but obviously yourself. So this was clearly a orchestrated effort to go one NFL player and then the next day, like the same team, the two richest guys on the same team.
Gotcha, bitch.
Someone got like an address book, hacked something, or an employee of the Chiefs or whoever found out where they were and knows, all right, these NFL players, they don't live in shanties. You know, they got some good shit in their house.
How do you have that much money and still get burglarized? I just don't get it.
I'm shocked it was only 21,000. Like you'd think like you get into the wife's jewelry, like it's gotta like.
She's pretty tacky though. You know, might have some bullshit jewelry, right? what was that line in Casino? Let's see, a nice watch. What one that he thinks is nice. Yeah. $300. That was the epitome of throwing shade on somebody, layering it on top of shade. Oh god, that was so
James Woods' best role, dude. Just a sleazy, just a sleazy pimp.
I don't know. That's
so good.
Honestly, like one that he thinks is nice.
Nice.
So good, dude. Such a good freaking line.
Like times are different now. Like I would think like if someone broke into my house, because like the things that like when we were growing up, when a house got broken into when we were kids, it's like the TV was really expensive. The VCR was really expensive. The microwave was really expensive. Like you had expensive things. A house was expensive. Like the thing inside a normal house was expensive. Now it's like our microwave was like 20, like it came with the house. It's probably worth $20. My giant, awesome 70-inch TVs, they're like $600. They're
Yeah,
like,
you go to Sam's Club, get them for cheap.
like my 6-month-old brand new 70-inch TV, if you like just sold it like in a back alley somewhere, you'd get like $80 for it. Like, what would you even steal in a house these days? Like anything that's really, really valuable is like
Jewelry.
nailed down.
I mean,
yeah, it's either like the wife's jewelry or
a
sneaker
Apollo
collection. Like it's got to be like swag stuff because there's just not like the appliances that were expensive when we were kids aren't expensive anymore.
I mean, stuff that you can flip easy, like electronics and jewelry, shit like that. You can flip that shit easy.
But even electronics, like the TVs are cheap.
Yeah, but you can flip that shit easy though. That's the thing, is they're easy to flip. These guys aren't like freaking masterminds. They're freaking, smash and grab, freaking break into someone's house, dude.
Well, this guy was orchestrated clearly. This specific guy, it's like you don't go back to back houses.
Okay, like he played a mission in Grand Theft Auto, and he knows. All right, I got it down now, guys. I know how to do it.
That'd be a great mission in Grand Theft Auto.
I think
rob
it is.
From all the Pro Bowlers in this city. Find out who has the biggest salary cap hits and rob them.
Rob those fools.
One more before we get to what up Windbags. Davante Adams. We generally have a rule on the show. They stop being Raiders, don't really follow them. How like it's just unhealthy to keep checking your ex's Instagram feed. It's like it doesn't serve any purpose, but every now and then we'll check it, especially when things aren't going well, which they aren't. He is Davante Adams on a team, a top 5 most talented team in football, the Jets. Like talent, player for player, resume for resume, top 5 team in talent. I don't think that's even not even a question. Phenomenal young defense. Garrett Wilson, first ballot Hall of Fame quarterback, and then you got Davante Adams on a team that talented. He's doing worse statistically than he did when Gardner Minshew was throwing balls to him with plays designed by Luke Getsy. In the 3 games with the Raiders that he played, he had 27 targets, 18 receptions, 209 yards, 1 touchdown, 11.6 yards per catch, and a win. With the Jets, he had 30 targets, 3 more, 17 receptions, 1 less, 176 yards, 33 yards less, same amount of touchdowns, 1.3 yards per catch less, and the same amount of wins. It is mind-boggling how bad the Jets are. And they didn't get any better with Davante Adams.
Yeah, man. Davante Adams is a piece of shit, dude. I don't know if you knew that.
We learned it. We learned it the hard way.
I don't know if you knew that. But, the whole Sports Illustrated article came out, the whole timeline of all the douchebaggery that Davante Adams. I mean, that having to keep that secret and you know what? To all the team, they kept it quiet. Mm-hmm. They didn't say anything. That locker room is airtight. And man, there's some stuff here. Like after they went to 0-3, Davante was shit talking Derek Carr 3 games into them, into the new season, right? And one of the teammates, not a good look to be complaining about the guy you wanted to play with. Wish he would keep that between them two. Mm-hmm. That was they're 3 games in last year, 3 games in. And then again after a 3 interception game again Thursday night against the Steelers. Derek isn't perfect, but that is your guy. Don't talk about him behind his back and then be his friend when he's around. People see that shit. That's right there. That's who Davante Adams is. Mm-hmm. Don't let him fool you. That's who he is. That's the type of person that he is. I don't give a shit if he grew up being a Raider fan. That's a piece of shit. That's a piece of shit person right there. And him having a shitty year right now, him making all this stink and getting all this negative attention on him and going to another team that sucks dick. It could have happened to a nicer guy.
We'll never have to eat Taco Bell again.
Fucking Del Taco's better anyway.
And talk about having like just poor career decisions, dude. Like he'd be so much better off if he just stayed in Green Bay. But no, like let me go to another team. Josh McDaniels will turn this around. Oh yeah, that's the guy I want designing plays for me. That fell apart. Oh, let me go to Robert Saleh and the Jets. That's an organization that really knows how to run accurately. Just a long history of being ran well. When you got the Green Bay Packers, who were like top 3 best run franchises in football. Like you rarely hear about just like upheaval in the front office, just like, oh, quarterback purgatory forever. Oh, what a draft they just completely blew. A trade that made just completely no sense. Like they have had their misses, no doubt about it. But you don't hear about that happening in Green Bay. You hear it happen with the Raiders. You definitely hear about it happen with the Jets. But Davante, in his infinite wisdom, this is where I need to go. This is where I'll pick things up.
Whatever, man. I don't give 2 shits about that guy. That guy is a piece of shit. I mean, look, that's just something terrible to do to a friggin' person, to someone that you call your friend. Mm-hmm. Like, I don't think too highly of Derek Carr as a football player, but as a person, I think he's a great person. And to do that to somebody that's supposed to be your friend, nah, man. I don't like that shit. That's bullshit.
Ready some more Windbags?
Yes, sir. Let's do it.
Jeremiah Rose, 4681. Hello, all. Hello, Jeremiah. If not lacking personnel, could you imagine if Scott Turner had an offense like the late 80s Rams and the early 1990s Cowboys like his father did? Norv had some fun offenses for sure back then.
Air Coryell, that's where he learned it.
Mm-hmm. I mean, obviously, I would like this is fun, Jeremiah. Like, let's reminisce and say what if and hope for that. Like that'd be amazing. Football's very different now. And does Norv Turner strike you as a dude who's really keeping up with modern football? Like he sounds like a guy that like he's got like a lazy boy at home that's like this mesh material. He's got like a perfect ass groove in there. He reads his paper in the morning, does like some bird watching. He'll check in on his son. Scott Turner, hey, my son's, in the NFL. I'll watch those games and I'll keep one eye on. But really, I'm excited about the sale at Campbell's Soup at the grocery store this Saturday. He seems like that guy.
Yeah, but the thing is being able to attack a weakness on a defense, that hasn't changed. Mm-hmm. Formations and different looks and this and that and all these different little, window dressing type things on offenses. Yeah, that those things kind of come and go. But X's and O's, how to attack a defense, how to set things up, things like that hasn't changed. So his knowledge is still going to be very useful.
Sammy GHP, what would Tom Telesco's role be if Brady is under control? I love this question. I mean, he would be GM for sure in name. But what exactly would that role be? And I have some ideas, but I think there's a wide gambit of what actual power he would have if Tom Brady is like under control. And again, how much control does Tom Brady have? I think it's going to be as much as he wants, but is it going to be like very day-to-day hands-on? Is Tom Brady, he's a busy guy, right? Is he going to be just kind of checking in and making big decisions and then delegating and trusting his guys? Because then Telesco's role's a little different. If Tom Brady like straight up says to Mark Davis, like Tom Telesco wants A, I want B, it's going to be B. Mark Davis is going to say, okay, the answer is B, right?
Well, yeah, because Tom Brady's coming from the same voice as Mark Davis.
That's what I'm saying. He'll have as much power as he wants. I think Mark.
Yeah,
Davis
but I mean that doesn't change Telesco's role any. If it's coming from an owner, it's coming from an owner.
Yeah.
It could have. It's the same thing as if Mark Davis last year said, "No, don't draft this guy. Draft this guy." You have to do it. It's his boss.
I think Telesco is going to have to earn the trust of Brady if he wants to keep the amount of power he currently enjoys. I feel, because if Brady just wants to supersede him, he can. But I think but does Brady want to be doing the bitch work that Telesco does? Maybe Tom Brady straight up like wants to be president of the Raiders and touch everything. You know, we've all had bosses that love to delegate. It's like, hey, I'll just check in every now and then. I'll sign your checks. You let me know if anything's wrong. And then there's bosses that are just up your ass. They're just like looking over your shoulder in every little thing that you do. You know, like it all depends on what kind of Tom Brady he wants to be. And then I will say this, Telesco is going to have to adjust
to a more, I mean, kind of like what I was talking about with Deion Sanders. You're communicating with the dad of a quarterback. Okay, that's fine, great. Oh yeah, you played in college. Okay, yeah, whatever. No, this is a different level now, because this guy is not going to get snowed by your bullshit. He's not going to say, okay, it's not just the what now, it's the how. It's what are you doing and how are you doing it? Who are you getting? Things like that. So it's just going to be a little bit more involved. He's going to be a little bit more scrutinized, and he's going to have to be on his P's and Q's a little bit better.
I think Telesco, if he's smart, and it seems like he seems like Telesco seems pretty level-headed. But if he's political, he can really use Tom Brady to his benefit. Like, not in drafting, because you draft who the players have no choice. But in like free agency, and there's like a hard negotiation for a player, you have Tom Brady call that guy. Let's say you're, a 25-year-old free safety that grew up watching Tom Brady win Super Bowls, and it's like pretty close with another team. You have Tom Brady call him and say, hey, man, you'll really succeed here. You have a great place here. You can be a superstar here. You don't think that'll sway him a little bit? You don't think that'll...
Yeah, for sure.
Send him, right?
And
you can have Telesco like really stroke Brady's ego. Be like, hey, if you call these three guys, man, they adore you. They worship you. You're a god to them. You can really help nudge them in this direction, Mr. Brady, if you and your amazing fame and glory and your infinite wisdom, right? Like that's what Telesco needs to do.
And that's where they all work together. And that's where Brady then pumps up Telesco. And then that's when Brady pumps up AP. That's where Brady pumps up some of the players, the leadership on the team. That's where Brady does. That's when he can do that now, because he's a part of the recruiting process. And again, it's not just the what, but the how and the who. Who are you getting to do it? How are you going to get it done? And it's all works together. If they can work together.
Not every. I'm exaggerating, but there was a long period of time.
You exaggerate? No way.
There's every single one. There was a good period of time where the University of Iowa, when Dan Gable, for those who don't know, Dan Gable is the god of American wrestling, Olympic gold medalist wrestler. He is the best coach of any sport in college athletics history. He won 19 national titles in 25 seasons. He won 9 in a row. He's unbelievable, right? There was a time when if you wrestled and the University of Iowa's football team wanted to recruit you, they'd have Dan Gable call you. And they got so many recruits when it's like God is calling Dan Gable. If you wrestle in America, Dan Gable's your God. And he would just they'd give him a list. He'd say, hey, call these guys. Try to recruit them to Iowa. And it would work, Same thing with Tom Brady. It's like, hey, it's a little recruiting's different, it's a little different. But you get what I'm saying, right? When it's just like, hey, we're trying to sign this guy. Negotiations are getting kind of tense. You can shave off $3 million. You can save us $3 million if you have Tom Brady call him and say, I'll make you a superstar. You'll be all pro here. I'll teach you everything I know.
Yeah, I mean it's possible, and it should be that way. You should use all the resources to your disposal, and you should have a united effort. And Tom Brady should use his stature to pump up the rest of his team and to pump up the rest of his his coaching staff and front office.
Willie 565 with Soto on that one. Plain Jane white girl with a pretty face. Brock Bowers' girlfriend has been a much more intense debate on this show than I ever expected it to be. I think she's a 10. Oh. That one's not a great photo. That one is. I don't like tan lines. Where are you on tan lines?
I dig it.
You do?
Look at that picture. Well, go back. Okay, look. She can't push her butt to the side to make it look like she has curves. She's not showing a bunch of skin. It's just a plain Jane with a very, very, very pretty face. I think she's very attractive in the face. And she puts herself together well. But, dude, we just like different things, dude. We just like different things. She's hot. I said it when he got drafted. She was freaking hot.
This is a great shot. I love that dress.
Yeah, she's fit. She's young. The fact that she's young and tight, that all adds to it, dude. It all adds to it. But dude, she's
Titan.
Dude, she just look at that. There's nothing there, bro. That is
Stop.
long back.
Stop. You're insane.
That's long back, dude.
I want to bite her butt.
Dude, what butt? You're gonna miss.
I want to bite her butt.
You're gonna bite the small of her back. We just like to look for different things, man.
She's so hot, dude.
Yeah, she's very pretty. She's very pretty. And the fact that she dresses the way she does in her pictures, and she knows she's basically an Instagram model. And the way she freaking poses and stuff, yeah, she makes herself look, but it's all, no, dude, no.
10, a fucking 10.
10.
Movie's that from? Let us know in the comment section.
Or one of the greatest scenes ever.
We will do, we're penciling in a live show on Saturday to preview Raiders Dolphins. We went long today. We just had to get to talk about Brock Bowers' girlfriend again. It's the new Derek Carr of this show, Brock Bowers' girlfriend.
I don't want to talk about her again, honestly. I really don't.
Well, we'll see. We'll see if the Windbags demand a recount. It's like California. It takes us a fucking week and a half to count all the votes around here. Don't know why. Us in Arizona. But we'll do a live show penciled in for Saturday to preview Raiders Dolphins. It will be Soto solo on Sunday. I'll be at a funeral. So he'll handle post-show duties on his own. But as always, we'll keep you abreast of all breaking news. Just stay right here on the channel. And until then, knock on wood if you're with me. Hey, you made it to the end of our video. Great job. I know you want more. Go ahead and click the next video. And if you're feeling crazy, go ahead and subscribe.